How about it? Did that change it? Oh, okay. I'm seeing it there. Let's see. All right, I can make it even bigger. Back to properties. Let's make it huge. How about now? It's readable now. Look, we did it. All right. So we'll go into some games that I picked up. So I'm a collector of physical video games, and I know there's some stuff in the news lately about that, but we'll get back to it. So I picked up a couple games. Um, here, oh, that was the wrong one. Wrong button. Sorry. So first game that I picked up is, and hopefully you can see it, is Octopath Traveler 0 on the Nintendo Switch. I picked this up. So this is a turn-based RPG that I picked up. It's got the HD 2D art style, kind of like the Dragon Warrior games that recently got redone in an HD 2D style. And I think that style is really cool. This is a prequel to the first two Octopath Travelers games that came out, but it's only a prequel in the chronological sense. Like these games are all um, self-contained stories, so you don't have to play one to play the other. So it just kind of takes place in the same world, just earlier in the world's history. So, and I ordered it on Switch because I have the other two on the Switch. So I just figured I'd add it. I knew as soon as this was announced and came out that I would want to get it. So basically, what this game is about is you start out on a journey to rebuild your hometown after it was destroyed, and along the way, you recruit allies, you explore the world, and you get caught up in like a larger conflict that affects everything. So I haven't played through any of these yet, but I've heard good things about them. I'm super interested in them, and I'm excited to give those a try. So there's Octopath Traveler 0. The next one that I have is this is on PS4. This is, and I apologize for the glare, but hopefully it comes through. This is Nier Automata Game of the Yorha edition, which is a weird thing to say, but I'll go into why they call it that. This is another action RPG, and I've heard really good things about this, both about the story and the soundtrack. And I believe this game is on a lot of people's like best of PS4 lists. And one of the things that I like to do with my collection is to have like notable representatives for particular genres or generations. And this one seemed to fit that bill. So, story behind this one is that it's in the distant future and humanity has left Earth after an invasion by alien machines. And there are these android soldiers in this organization called Yorha, which are being sent back to reclaim the planet. So as you just kind of go through, as the war goes through, it reveals some things about both the machines and humanity. So the reason this is called the Yorha edition is just it's a name of the android military organization in the game's world. So it's kind of like the developers play on like an in-universe play on words to do that. So that's Nier Automata Game of the Year edition. And this is basically it's a Game of the Year edition and includes base game, some DLC, and some cosmetic items. So the last game I have is hopefully this come across. This is Tactics Ogre Reborn. The cellophane that's on here is probably big, so you can see they're just still sealed. So I got this one on PS5. This is another strategic tactical RPG, and this is considered one of the genre's foundational titles. This is a remake of Tactics Ogre Let Us Cling Together, which released on the Super Famicom in Japan in 1995, and then in the late 90s it was ported to the PlayStation 1 and the Sega Saturn. And then in 2010, it was completely remade for Sony's PSP handheld portable. And that 2022, they released this. And this is basically just built off again that remake they did on the PSP. This has got it's got voice acting in all the scenes. It's got a remastered orchestral score, stuff like that. So this is like the definitive edition of this game. The story is it's set in this like war-torn area, and you play as a young man that's drawn into a civil war, and every decision you make influences the story, alliances, and even who survives. So this leads to multiple branching paths and endings, similar to what we're going through with Star Fox right now, and different paths that you can go through to get to different endings. Some interesting information about this. This was directed by Yasumi Matsumo, who later created Final Fantasy Tactics, and he also worked on Final Fantasy 12. And Tactics has been redone a couple times. I think the Evilus Chronicles that was recently released on PS5. I don't know if it was released on Switch or not. It may have been, but that's like kind of like a remake of it, which is actually this is the Final Fantasy Tactics is another game that was kind of remastered for the PlayStation Portable, and that is a kind of like a re-release of that. So that's what I got there on those three. So I like talking about pickups. There's hundreds of hours of content in these three games, so it's more stuff for the backlog that someday I'll get through. We'll see. All right, just checking chat. So I just want to say I got all three of these games from Video Games Plus. I'm not sponsored by them, but I just wanted to give credit where it's due. If you're a physical game collector, they've been a fantastic place for me to find new releases, imports, and games that you just don't find in other places. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. And they always include a little sticker when you order. Hopefully this one comes across. This is their mascot, Glitch. And he's got that little Tommy Bahama style hat on and the sunglasses. I like getting the stickers. And usually it's just a silver sticker that says VGP, but this one really stuck out to me because it's a little bit different. It's fitting for summer. Just to mention, as everybody's been talking about lately, PlayStation has recently announced that beginning in 2028, all new PlayStation games will no longer be released on physical discs. Existing games, anything released before then, are not affected, but this definitely feels like we're watching the end of an era for physical collecting. For me, personally, I like owning something that I can put on a shelf. I can lend it to my friends. I can maybe someday trade it if I would want to, though I don't do that very often. And I just like knowing I'll have it there in later years if I want. I get digital's convenient. I totally understand why people are buying digital. It's something to be said for, if you like, there's a game coming out this week and you pre-order it, and then it's there for you when you're ready for it, right? You don't have to wait for the delivery guy to come. You don't got to run out and buy it or things like that. But for me personally, there's something really satisfying about building a library that you can see and look at, and it can be an interesting conversation topic sometimes. Like somebody will come by and look or talk about games that are on there and say, this one reminds me of that, or I remember playing this, or in my case, I remember a lot of my kids playing a lot of these games. It's like Star Fox. I remember my oldest playing Star Fox on the GameCube, which was his first console. I just remember playing. I never played it, so that's why this is all new and fun to me. But that's kind of where it's going. So. Just wanted to share those little pickups and hope you guys like that. And if anybody wants to comment anywhere about any physical games or their thoughts on physical games and building collections, that'd be cool.